Alright, welcome to another video on how to become a business consulting freelancer. And specifically looking at the last module, or at least the section 4 on how to conduct a research and gather quality data. A quick overview of that is, well, recognize that data is something powerful because it can help you influence others, persuade, and reinforce your point of view, but also can be misleading. And when you're conducting a research for a consulting project, it is important to recognize what are the most valuable to the least valuable source of data. Data that come from the company is the most valuable. Then you have these trust sources where they have proven record of research report, peer review, and then from aggregate sources. Because the quality of the data and or the authors, you can check who the author really is. That's the reason why is on that place. So then I look at an overview of how to conduct a research, and that is play devil advocate or look things from different perspectives because things are not black and white. Then gather relevant information, data, take notes and keep record of every source you obtain, and then qualify the data that you get so you can circle back to the client. And when I look at guidelines that Paul Mendes, from the marketing perspective, he conducted research to a particular tourist website. Okay, he mentioned a couple of things that he does, right, or a guidelines. First is to look at their website, understand what they offer, how much they charge, all the product and service first, and then you go into the specific about their prices, their category, what makes this company unique, because you're gonna use all of them in your suggestions. And then you go to the first party data, if you can have access to that, to see what they have done in the past, see how they have been performing, and from there see how you can recommend or provide your suggestions. Then with that data, you look now to the secondary data or your competitor analysis. When you know, or you in this research, you want to know who the other players are in that industry, as well as what they're doing, how you can learn from them. So you can then use all of that and compile them into a keyword research, which is something that you can do after the competitor analysis, a keyword research using tools to using tools uh, like keyword research tools from Google or any other out there, especially with Google, and to see what is going on in that industry. And on top of that, you now look at the worst news to get up to data by looking at the news, the data, also the mass media, to now ask yourself everything that I have researched, what is most likely to work today? And from there, you want to know how this industry is adapting to regulation and where this industry is going. So now make that on the e-commerce sphere. Okay, we research in a practical one to understand is first, what is an e-commerce? And Amazon mentioned that is a transaction of good and service. Is your bustling city center or your brick and mortar shops converting to zeros and one on the internet superhighway? And Shopify described that yes, while e-business referred to all aspects of operating an online business, whether it's sales, marketing, accounting, human research, management operations, IT, customer service, or in R&D, research and development, e-commerce refers specifically to the trade on goods and service on the internet. So then I look at the most common type of e-commerce and it is example, and the actors involved that business, consumers, and government. So the most widely business model is the business to consumers, where now here you have these online retailers like Amazon, Costco, Walmart, digital marketplace like Etsy, eBay, uh, yeah, like Etsy and eBay, online travel and booking, such as Expedia, Booking.com, or Airbnb, subscription service like Netflix or Spotify, ordering food and delivery service like Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. When it comes to business, the most common example is now online marketplace, such as Amazon Business, Alibaba, or eBay Business, EDI, this electronic data interchange, paperwork that were traditionally made on paper, such as purchase order or invoice, now it is done electronically and exchanged within the company or amongst others. So EBM provide that. Supplier portals like SAP, Arriva Network, or the wholesale Walmart supply center, wholesale e-commerce such as Uline and Granger in the US, or business-to-business payment solutions such as PayPal or Stripe. Now for on the consumer to business, here we have is freelance work like uh, for any of the business specific activity, whether it's in sales, marketing, finance, or accounting, management operations, human research, development, or IT, R&D, or customer relationship, or customer support, in place like Upwork, Fiverr, or freelance. Also, you have survey online survey like SurveyMonkey, user generated content where now is users sell their digital content to business, whether it's audio, image, audio, image, as well as crowdfunding. So where now consumers can raise funds for their own projects and ideas in place like Indiegogo and Kickstarter and Priceline. So consumers can submit a price quota for a business project or a business product in place like Priceline or name your price. And when it comes now to the government to business, which is a very interesting thing, especially for those who don't know about that. So the most common example here is public procurement portals where now government agency provides online platforms for business to bid on government contract like the FBO, for example, Federal Business Opportunity, or the UK Contract Finder and Service. Payment systems and tax filing like the electronic federal ta- electronic federal tax payment system in the US, or the HM custom revenue in the UK. Licensing and permit, where now business can apply for licensing or permits like food license or building permit, international trades and custom clearance, such as the electronic custom clearance or export declarations. So the government provides service to facilitate cross-border trade. And business registration, okay, like the SBA on US, Small Business Administration, or the UK Company House. And when it comes to government to consumers, well, they provide tax, sorry, uh, tax payment portals. So now citizens can pay their taxes like the IRS in the US or the HM custom revenue on the UK. Driver licensing, uh, yeah, vehicle registrations and licensing, okay, like the DMV in California, USA, the Department Motor Vehicle, or the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency in the UK, passport applications and renewal. So now citizens can apply for their passport or to renew to get a new one in the US in place like the state of Department of State Passport Service or the UK General Register Office. Also, for tax utility or for the payment of utility bill, like electricity bill, like electricity, water, property taxes, and other government fees. In ordering birth and death certificates in place like in the US, the National Center for Health Statistics, or in the UK, in the UK General Register Office, the GRR. GRO. Okay, great, great, great. Because because exactly. Um, so now, then I look. Yeah, the consumer to government, okay, such as online petitions, online donations, payment of fees and fine. And with that, okay, then I look at where does the e-commerce takes place, whether it's on mobile, enterprise, or social media. And now, okay, with that understanding, then I look the compare analysis of what are, at least to mention, what are the other players in that industry, the e-commerce, such as Alibaba, Amazon, Walmart, IKEA, Shopify, and a keyword research based on that, where they most of the time are looking for a place, to set a website with Shopify or a POS, point of sale, Amazon gift cards, eBay gift cards, and most of the times are websites. So with that, all right, now that I conduct that research and gather this quality data, okay, and I take note from that. So my notes here, when I get this data, okay, uh, at least for the type of e-commerce, okay, the source was ChatGPT, okay, so that is the source, and then the comparator analysis, it was based on the uh, LinkedIn or Indeed blog posts about career developments and online companies. Okay, cool. So then, now after I know how to so now after I conduct a research and I gather the quality data, okay, from the first party data, second and third party. Now it's time to put at practice and know how to make that in a visually engaging way. So the TLDR client, so the TLDR is that you can display is with a statistic and charge how you came with that conclusion and point out the meaningful patterns. And as a consultant, that's what the client wants to know, how you reach to that. And with that knowledge, you can then put above and beyond with your consultations. Since now you can put that at practice once you reach an agreement with the client. So the vast majority of us are visual learners, so we can perceive and understand much more better when we show data in a visually engaging presentations and not get killed by the PowerPoint. Yeah, not get killed by some PowerPoint presentations. All words only. And so now the way to do that, how to create this visual engaging presentation, is that first analyze your research and note, because before creating your report, you need to know precisely how you're going to put that data on that. Put the most valuable data first, okay, because you don't want the client start to forget what the most important thing was. So you need to put the most impactful data first, and your audience can make sure they are understanding what the report is revolving around. So nobody wants to see an entire presentation to find out at the final page to get a good stuff. So in other words, you need to lay out the fundamentals, present the most valuable data, and expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics. But this is the way how you do that. Okay, so first, uh, analyze your research and note. So before creating your report, you should know precisely what data will be in that. Okay, and then put the most valuable data, and that is first you need to lay out the ground first, presents the most valuable data, and then expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics. Create templates when needed, especially uh, for optimization. So you don't, if you want a client, so you want this to create already a template for how things went and how things go. All right. Visualize data into graph and charts, because data visualization helps you to make informed decisions. And because of that, okay, So this is the series of recommendation of steps you should do as when you going to create a report. Okay, so analyze your data and findings. Okay, so analyze your research and notes, and before creating a report, you should know exactly what are the data you're gonna put in there, and then present the most valuable data by first lay out the ground, then put the most impactful data, and after that expand on that topic with visual reports and aesthetic. Okay, and then expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetic. Okay, with visual report and different aesthetic. Okay, so then create templates when needed, especially if you have already a client that you have delivering regularly your reports, and visualize data into graph and chart. Okay, because there's a study that say, did you know that humans perceive visual data 60 times faster than reading? Uh, my question is that I don't know where that comes from. Let me ask ChatGPT about that. Of this statement, or show me the study of this statement. There have been various studies and claims made regarding the speed at which humans process vision. Exactly, but in the journal Attention, Perception, and Psychology in 2016 found that the brain can process image. Okay, another study published found that the brain can process images that the eye see for as little as 30 milliseconds. Another study published in the journal PLOS One in 2013 found that the brain can recognize and categorize image scenes for a little 100 milliseconds. While there not while there may not be a specific study to support the exact claim made in the statement, there is evidence to suggest that humans do process visual faster than text-based. Uh, show me the study. But it said, okay, for this, attention, perception, and psychology, brain can process images that are the MIT study. Brain can process image in 30 milliseconds in 2014. But this is the source, right? From the MIT. Holy shit! Attention, perception, and psychophysics. How many images you can process right here in the blink of an eye? Ah, okay, but this. I think that's more marketing. So the MIT News, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Jesus. Okay. But the MIT mentioned that MIT neuroscientists find that the brain can identify image scenes for as little as 30 milliseconds. But that's their findings. That's their finding. So it record the conversation. Okay. It record the conversation. So somewhat it has memory. Okay, but in any case, uh, according to an MIT study in 2014, we can identify, or the brain can identify image scenes for as little as 13 milliseconds, meaning, okay, that we can perceive image much more faster than text, right? In any case, so after I look at each one of the recommendations to conduct a research or to create a report, okay, to create a visually engaging report and understand the reason why you're doing that, because we as humans can process visual data much more faster, and the whole idea is display data with charts and statistics to your clients so you can point out the meaningful patterns. And as a consultant, the client wants to know how you reach to that conclusion. And when you show that, then you can implement your suggestions based on the previous agreement, right? So the whole point of this is uh, this will not only help you to stand up in your business, because you're not another consultant that just do the bare minimum, which is something that I did in a previous job, but not any longer. Okay, you're not just another consultant that you do the just bare minimum to get by. And the series of steps recommended by Paul Mendes to create a report is, well, first, analyze your finding. Analyze your findings and notes, meaning that before to create a report, you should know exactly what is the data that you want to show. Then put the most valuable data first by laying the ground first. Put the most impactful data first, and then expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics. So you want to create a templates for your clients, especially for recurring clients, and use visualizations, data, uh, tools like bars and like graph and charts. Because, well, humans, according to the MIT, according to a 2014 study, we process image, or the brain process image, as little as 13 milliseconds. So the brain process image scenes for as little as 13 milliseconds. And that to me is like, what? Holy shit. So the whole point of this is to show that data visualization helps you make informed decisions. And then I look at the several bars and graphs that we can use in our report. So bar graph, the most common use case is for show data over time, compare different category, or part as a whole. The pie chart is when you make is when you want to make a part to a whole comparison with discrete or continuous data. And they're most impactful with small set, according to Data Hero, a startup on San Francisco that focuses on business and marketing. Then you have line graph, that the most common use case is to show time series relationship with continuous data, okay, or the area chart. Not line graph, is area chart. Wait, what? Area chart. Okay, let me double check here.
Hello and welcome to the first lesson.
There you go.
Welcome to the next lesson. Consultant that does the minimum, the pizza pie chart, but they're different than line charts in that they can
Interesting. I don't know why I put that. There you got it. Line graph. But I didn't add that. Okay, I didn't add that image to the presentation here. Okay. And then the area chart. Okay.
show time series relationships, time series relationship,
In that they can represent volume. This is line graph and area chart. Area chart. Exactly. And area chart are somewhat similar. Area charts also depict a time series relationship. Also depict time series relationship, but they're different than line chart in that they can represent volume.
with continuous data, and they also help. Area charts also depict a time series relationship,
Where they can represent volume. Average day to close by date became SQL. Visualization they can present is this. Volume. You have two axes, but they can represent also another variable. They can represent three variables. Also depict a series relationship with, but they're different than line charts in that they can represent, but they are different. They are different that line graph or line chart in that they can represent volume, but they're different in that line chart in that they can represent volume. It's basically that. Okay. So in other words, they can show three variables. So, okay, to recap, what are the type of charts you can use in your report? Depending on the use case. So bar charts, the most common use case is to show change in time to compare different categories or parts as a whole. Pie charts, when you want to make a comparison of a par to a whole with continuous data, but this is most useful on or most impactful in small data set. If you're going to show, for example, trends, acceleration or deceleration or volatility, line graph helps you to do that. Okay, because it can show a time series relationship with continuous data. And the subtle difference between the line charts and area is that it can represent volume, meaning it can represent another variable in that graph. Okay, again, it's a time series relationship, but it can represent volume, meaning another variable. And when you have two set of variables and you want to see the relationship between items, okay, now you don't care about time series representations, right? Or time series relationship. Now you don't care about time series relationship, such as area charts, bar graph, such as area, bar, line, or even pie charts. Okay, you now want to see is the relationship between different items based on two set of variables. Okay, to see correlations is large amount of data. So whether the bar, mhm. so whether the bar, pie, line, and area can show you time series relationship with scatter plot, it can represent is correlations in large amount of data to compare between items. Okay, correlations among data. Uh, yeah, correlations among data. Okay, with scatter plot is correlations among data or correlations among items. So correlations in show correlations in large amount of data to see the relationship between items on a two set of variables. So for example, you want to see is the correlation of customer satisfaction and time delay or time response. Okay, so you want to see the correlation of customer satisfaction and time response and where those group together and see the correlation of that among two variables. And then we have is the bubble chart. Okay, most common use case display nominal comparison or ranking relationship. Okay, nominal comparison or ranking relationship. They showcase three variables of data and add a combo of a scatter plot and proportional area chart, helpful in comparing multiple data points on the same chart. Okay. So let me now understanding more about the bubble chart here. So display nominal comparison or ranking relationship. So they showcase three variables of data and add a combo of scatter plot and, proportional the area chart. When you want to see the correlations of multiple data points in the same chart data. And then we reach to the heat map. Okay. Exactly. And then we look at the heat map. Alright. And let me look at what it does. What it mentioned here is heat map display categorical data displaying categorical data using intensity of color to represent values of geographical area of a data table. Okay, but this is heat map display categorical data using intensity of color. Display categorical data using intensity of color to represent values of geographical areas or data tables. Okay. So most common use case, display categorical data using intensity of color to represent value of geographical area or data tables. But again, that's what it heat maps. So while area charts, so anytime you want to, or the scatter plot, so to recap, time, when you want to see the time series relationship amongst data, okay, and depending of the use case, you can choose bar, pi, area, or line, okay. If we want to see the correlations amongst data, again, important, correlation does not mean causality, okay. But when you want to see the correlation of different data, scatter plots and bubble charts are very helpful here. Scatter plot and bubble chart. So scatter plots allow you to see the relationship between different items to see the correlation on a two variables. So for example, customer happiness and time to response. Whereas in a bubble chart, okay, you can see hours spent online, age, and genders. Bubble chart. Okay. And then heat map is to display categorical data using intensity of color. But this is Categorical data. Categorical data. Let me ask ChatGPT, what does it mean, categorical data? According to this, categorical data meaning. Categorical data is a type of data that represents qualitative information, qualitative information of characteristics that can be grouped into category or class. It consists of values that are limited to a particular set of category, which might be nominal or ordinal. A nominal category refers to data that does not have any inherent order, and the category is a simple label used to differentiate different groups. Okay. Okay, when there is no order, nominal. Ordinal, okay, refers to that has a natural order of hierarchy among its category. For instance, education level, such as high school, bachelor degrees or master degree. Categorical data is often analyzed using statistical, but this is human made. Human made. Categorical data is often analyzed using statistical methods that are specifically designed for this type of data, such as frequency tables, contingency tables, or G-squared tests. But to understand this, okay, so categorical data is a type of data that represents characteristics that can be grouped into categories or classes. Okay, so categorical data is data that represents information that can be grouped, whether it's nominal, where the order doesn't matter. For example, the gender of individual, okay, the type of vehicle or the color of a product, where order doesn't matter. And ordinal categorical data is when the order matters. So for instance, education levels. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so chat GPT. Okay. Interesting. 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 So this is categorical data. Data that represent, so data that can, so qualitative information or characteristic, okay. Categorical data that represents the characteristic that can be grouped into class or category. It can be nominal or ordinal. Nominal when the order doesn't matter. Okay. Such as gender, color of a car, the gender of individuals, the color of a car. And ordinal is when the order matters, or hierarchical category. So for instance, education level, such as high school, bachelor degrees, or master degree. Okay. But based on this example, this ordinal category are human made. Education level, income brackets, another human made. Job seniority, customer satisfaction, Likert score, performance rating, health status, star rating, product. An example of nominal data examples. Gender, marital status, ethnicity, eye color, county of origin, favorite color, type of card, type of fruit, So nominal category. This is nominal. Mhm. Exactly. Nominal is when order doesn't matter, like gender, marital status, country of origin, favorite color, type of fruit is ordinal. Is nominal. And ordinal is when the order matters. Is when the order matters. Alright. So it's categorical data. Okay, heat maps show categorical data whether the order or not matters, and using intensity color that represent value of geographical area or data tables. And with that, that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.